is 40 to 70, like a pretty wide range of ages. And they followed them for 6 to 8 years. They followed the participants through that. They took them through the sit-to-stand test, and you get scored. So it's 10 total points. You get 5 points for the way down and 5 points for the way up. We start standing. If I have 10 points right now, every time I use another point of contact to get where I'm going, I'm going to lose a point, right? So if I need to get from standing to the ground, and if I'm like, okay, that's 1, that's 2, now I'm down, okay? So that was 3 points. Does that make sense? And same on the way up. So what they found was that people who had scores below 8 over the 6-year period that they follow them, I'm going to remind you, research that correlation does not equal causation, okay? But there was a very high correlation with higher all-cause mortality rates, which means people symptomatic dying of all sorts of things, right? So it's not that they died from not being able to sit and stand up, but the correlation of having less leg standing strength and stability, less balanced proprioception body awareness, less spatial awareness, less mobility in their body, correlated with other causes of death, all-cause mortality rates being high, right? So what does that tell us? It doesn't mean you're going to die if you can't do this, okay? That would be the way that, Fox News would interpret that study if they were to put it in the news. What it means, though, is that the components that make up the ability to sit and stand have insanely high impacts on the rest of your mobility and life, right? So a lack of single leg stability strength will impact the other possible threatening things that happen in your life. Largely, I just talked about this the other day online, falls when people get older. Okay? Things like falls and breaking their hip and the impacts that have on their overall health span. And what him and I kept coming back to is that, obviously we like the fun, flashy stuff with arm balances and those parts of the practice. But the confusing thing in the yoga practice is this is one of the few disciplines that we say you're going to do it forever. It's a lifelong thing. It's a lifestyle. We say you're going to do it 6 to 7 days a week forever. We don't commit to anything forever. We don't commit to marriage like that. Besides kids, there are very few things most other athletics and sports, it's kind of you could do it and maybe you do it forever, or maybe in 3 years you start CrossFitting, or maybe in a few years you decide to do a marathon. It doesn't have the same visceral commitment. If we're doing this thing forever, and we're teaching people to do this thing forever, doesn't it seem wrong that we're ignoring this other stuff? That we're not focusing on that? It seems shitty that we're not, right? So we wanted to find ways that how can we sneak this into people, to get this stability in them, to get this strength, right? So that's where solar and lunar, those weird different things that we do that people fight us on all the time, they're there very much for these purposes, to build that kind of strength and proprioception stuff. So lunar practice is a great example of it. So with that, now if you've done it, you can probably imagine how that exists exactly in these sequences.